Ms. Reeder, how much were your medical bills as a result of the attack on June 6th of 2010?
They were $48,503.
Is that an exact figure?
Yes. It was a lot of money.
Your Honor, may I approach with Joint 10?
To help out the court, is what's up there now, that's 10 or that's 9?
That's actually Joint 9. My slide must be mislabeled.
That's fine. So you have another exhibit now?
Apologize, Your Honor. Yeah, this is the actual Joint 10. Now, what does Joint 10 show?
This is a summary of all of the bills that I've had because of this injury from Chaucer.
And does it appear to be an accurate bill in the statement?
It is. It states all of the amounts that were paid accurately.
All right. And how much, Ms. Reeder, how much lost pay did you suffer as a result of the injuries?
Well, this happened on June 6th, and I was out until just after 4th of July, so a month of wages.
And besides the pain and scarring and the forced job change and these expenses we've just discussed, did the accident have any other negative effects on your life?
Well, I find less job satisfaction now because I'm stuck in an office all day doing billing instead of reading meters and talking to people. And then also, I have the limp and I can't play tennis or go running like I used to. And I'm also, I've had to change a bunch of my wardrobe now because I can't wear anything that shows my knee.
Thank you, Ms. Reeder. No further questions, Your Honor.
Well, before you stand down, Counsel, Exhibits 9 and 10, are you hoping to get them admitted?
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Is there any objection?
They've been stipulated.
So they'll be admitted as well. Ma'am, the lawyers for the defendant are going to ask you a few questions now.
Yeah. Permission to move back to the court, Your Honor.
That's fine.
If you'd forgive me. Or you want me to do that way? I'll do this while you go ahead. Okay. See. No, it's fine. Thank you, Your Honor. Actually, yeah. Before we begin, can we have you take down your exhibits?
Certainly, Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Reeder, you make it a habit to get to know all the dogs on your route, correct?
Yes.
And so you must have seen Queenie and Chaucer dozens, if not hundreds of times, right?
Yes.
And you contend today that Mr. Ipsa should have known that Chaucer had dangerous tendencies, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yet, you yourself, in all your years reading that meter and seeing those dogs, you never once saw Chaucer actually act up, did you?
I didn't see it, but I knew he was very dangerous.
Now, there's a sign that's hanging on a tree in front of Mr. Ipsa's home, right?
Yes.
Does this appear to be... Does this appear to be a fair and accurate representation of that sign?
I mean, I guess it looks like it. I'm not sure if it is that sign.
It's a beware of dog sign, correct?
It is a beware of dog sign.
Your Honor, this has been stipulated too. May I move that be moved into evidence?
Does this look like the sign they have at the house? I'm not asking if it's the same one. Does it look like it?
It looks like it.
It's admitted.
And you're aware that the sign had been there for over 3 years, correct?
Right. I believe they put it up 3 to 4 years ago.
Now, on the day in question, you went up to my client's door and rang the bell, right?
Yes.
And you only waited just a few moments, correct?
I waited a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, but I believe your exact word, you just waited just a few moments, though, right?
As long as it would have taken to answer the door.
Okay, now, if I could, Your Honor, may I approach the witness with deposition for recollection purposes?
Refresh your recollection about how long she waited at the door?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. Well, do you see this line right here? And do you mind if I read what you said there? You said, "Well, I waited just a bit." So then, would you say that you just waited just a few
Counsel, if
moments?
you would just move back a little bit now that you've shown the witness what you need
Yes,
to
Your
show.
Honor. Just a bit then?
Well, I don't know that just a bit is any technical length of time, but I would say it's, yes, a few moments, as long as it would have taken to answer the door.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with City Ordinance number 9702?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't- This up on the-
Can I see that real quick?
Absolutely.
All right.
And it's a little difficult to read there, but you can see it relatively clearly. There's another copy there. If you'd just like to follow along as I highlight and read from this ordinance.
You happen to have a printed copy you can bring up to the bench?
No, Your Honor, I just...
It's actually hard for me to read.
I thought that I did. No, just give me 1 second.
Yes, we do. Here it is, Your Honor, my apologies.
No problem.
Okay, if you just want to follow along as I highlight and read here. The ordinance says, before entering an enclosed yard or a yard posted with a beware of dog or other warning signs, city personnel should, whenever practicable, first contact the owner and wait until the animal is under control before entering said premises. So you're familiar with this ordinance?
Yes, I believe I spoke of it earlier.
Now, so...
Are you able to read that?
Yeah, it is kind of upset. Wouldn't you say it was practicable for you to wait for my client to come and put Chowser in the house for you that day?
It was not. When I rang the doorbell, I waited a few moments, but while I was waiting, I could hear the shower running in the house.
Thank you, but my question was, would it have been practicable for you to wait?
I did not believe so, no.
Okay, I may. This is, I can't read it sideways.
Hit the zoom out.
This is the Webster's dictionary definition of practicable. If you just want to read along with me, it says practicable, capable of being put into practice or of being done or accomplished, feasible. So then are we to believe that you were not capable to wait a couple minutes for my client to come to the door?
I had no idea how long it would be. I had no idea if it would be a few moments or if it would be half an hour.
So then, back to my question, your answer then is that no, you were not capable of waiting,
No, I was not.
but you did know someone was home, right?
I assume so. I heard the shower running.
Yeah, you weren't capable of waiting for that person who you knew to be home to come to the door for you.
I believe I've said this to you before, but no, I did not believe it was practical to wait.
So then you contend that you did not break this city ordinance because it wasn't feasible. You were not capable of waiting.
Objection. Asked and answered.
Staying.
Okay. Would it have been unheard of for you to simply leave on June 6th and come back another day?
Sometimes that is something that we do. In this situation, this house was the last one on my route in this neighborhood, and we don't like to leave one house in a neighborhood because then I would have to come back to this neighborhood specifically for this event. And when we have as many routes and houses as we do, we need to be as efficient as we can. And here, I followed the ordinance as I believed was reasonable, and I didn't believe there was any reason to do otherwise.
Okay, but my question was, would it have been unheard of for you to do that?
And I said that is sometimes what we do.
Okay. Now, you contend on most days these gates were open, correct?
No, I didn't say on most days those were
I
open.
believe you said in your earlier testimony that those gates were usually open.
No, what I said earlier was, with my experience on these routes, if that left side gate is open, the dogs are not in the backyard.
Okay, so then if this gate is open, it's okay to go into the backyard.
That has been my experience with
And you
the
contend that this
11-13.
gate was open on June 6, 2010.
Yes.
But that day you knew it was not okay to walk into the backyard. And that is why you went up and you knocked on the door and rang the doorbell, isn't it?
I don't think I understand what you're saying.
Okay, you say that usually that if the gates are open, it's okay to walk on back and read the meter. right?
I don't just walk back in there and read the meter. What I said is that when the gate is open, I know the dogs are not in the backyard.
you
And that is
testified
because with my
earlier-
experience,
you
that's how it's
testified-
Let the witness answer that question.
You testified earlier that if that's the case, you know it's okay to walk on back and read the meter.
I do, but I
Right.
didn't say I did go back there and read the meter.
Right, exactly. You didn't, because you knew it wasn't okay. So you walked to the front door and rang the bell that day, didn't you?
Any day when I find the gates open, I would ring the doorbell because that's what we are to do.
Then why would you say that if the gate's open, you know it's okay to walk on back if you never do that?
I don't believe I meant to imply by that that I actually walked back there. I just know that when the gate is open, that the dogs are not in the backyard.
All right, now I'm showing you, if I may, what's been marked Joint Exhibit 8. This appear to be the type of fence and gate at my client's home.
It looks like it.
So would you say it's a similar gate? It's a fair and
Yes.
accurate representation of what that gate and fence look like?
Sure.
Your Honor, moves this be admitted in the evidence.
It's admitted.
Okay. So you say that's a chain link fence, correct?
Yes.
So you could have seen through that transparent fence, correct?
Right.
So you could have stopped and looked to see if there were any dogs in this backyard before you actually went through the gate, correct?
Sure.
Okay, and you could have even walked around to the side of this gate or even all the way around it had you wanted to and looked through that fence the whole way around to see if there were any dogs back there, couldn't you?
Sure.
But you didn't.
That's not a common practice.
So once you were in the backyard, you said that you saw Queenie almost instantly, correct?
She was sitting under a tree.
Okay. Now, seeing Queenie, shouldn't that have alarmed you that, hey, there are dogs in this backyard, and I'm not supposed to walk into backyards with beware of dog signs when there are dogs in the backyard?
I mean, I guess I could have made a lot of assumptions, but Queenie is not someone, or is not the dog that I was ever worried about, and she was sitting quietly under the tree, so I wasn't concerned.
But the ordinance that we saw earlier that you said you followed states that if there's a beware of dog sign, which you testified there was, and you see dogs, that you aren't to enter that yard, correct?
It says when practicable, make contact with the owner, and I made an effort to do that. I was not able to contact the owner, and I believed it was safe to go into the backyard.
Do you feel that you should have been alarmed and turned around when you saw Queenie? Sorry, you said no to that. You don't believe so?
Right.
When asking your deposition about whether you should have left that yard at that point, you said, quote, "But you're right, I guess about me, should have taken off," didn't you?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, once you saw Queenie, you're probably thinking that Chowser was around too, right? Or that you should look out for him, correct?
I don't think that is what I thought.
Okay, now, you said that Chowser came out from under the deck. That'd be this deck, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you were at the meter when he came out, correct?
Mhm.
And that is represented by this M. Can you see that, Your Honor?
I can see that.
By this M?
Yes, the M represents the meter.
So right here. Is there anything between that deck and the meter there that might have obstructed your view of Chowser?
I guess I don't know what you mean by that.
You can, I mean, essentially I'm saying you can, even if you don't recall, you can just look at this graphic, but between this meter and this deck, is there anything that would have obstructed your view from seeing that dog under the deck?
Well, from the meter, I can see on top of the deck.
But you contend that you can't see under the deck?
I don't
standing,
know.
Standing,
I honestly don't know from your diagram, and I don't recall.
You don't recall? Okay. Now, you said that when you saw Chowser, you started to back away, correct?
Yes,
And then you said that you ran right through the gate, right?
right.
Now, could you, if she may, Your Honor, could you step down and just kind of show for me in the court what path you took? Thank you so much.
I ran down through this gate somewhere over here.
Somewhere about in there.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly. It was traumatizing.
Okay. Now, you said that...
Wait, Walter, sit down.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Now, you said that as you took this route, you went through that gate and you tried to shut the gate behind you, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you said that there was a hose in the way, right?
right,
Assumably to use to wash off this pool deck, correct?
sure.
Now, let me ask you just kind of a common sense question. Wouldn't it make more sense if one were to wash and work in this pool area to go through this gate here that actually goes to the pool area as opposed to this gate? Do you understand my question? I'm sorry.
I guess I just don't know how to answer that. I don't,
I'm just asking, would it be more logical if you were going to wash off this pool to go through this gate rather than that gate?
well, I believe you would have to go through both gates.
To get to the pool, you'd have to go through both of these gates?
As I explained earlier, the spigot for the hose is located on the house, so you would have to go through both. That's why the hose was dragged through that fence.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the spigot was on the front end of the home.
I don't
Okay, thank you.
recall exactly. It's not my home.
Right.
Witness testified that it was in the back of the house. I wasn't there, I don't know where it is, but that's what she said earlier.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now I want to talk just a little bit about your Form 22. Now, a Form 22 is where you typically record your readings, right?
Yes,
Okay. Now, on your Form 22 for the day in question, your last entry was 1109 South Glenwood. Do you recall that?
yes,
Okay. So then, I'm assuming that by number and order that home is somewhere over in here. So then, you did not enter anything for 111 South Glenwood, did you?
there may have been special circumstances as to why that house was not, the meter wasn't read that day.
Okay, nor did you enter anything for Mr. Ips's home, correct?
Well, right, because as soon as I started to take notes is when Childer attacked me.
Yet in your deposition, you say that you were standing by the meter and, quote, in the middle of making my notes, didn't you?
I don't know that that was the exact middle of making my notes, but
Okay. Just a few questions on your injury. Now, you said that your uniform that day was thankfully made of really heavy material, right?
yes,
And that helped limit the amount of injury that you sustained? correct?
yes,
Okay. And excepting your knee, everything has just healed up just fine, right?
yes,
Okay, now, your medical bills have already been paid by workers' comp or your insurance company, correct?
they've been paid by one of those.
Okay. And you were obviously injured while on the job, right?
Yes,
Okay, so then workers' comp would have covered your back pay, correct?
I'm not exactly familiar with how workers' comp works.
Okay. Now, you do still work for Power and Light, correct?
I do.
And you haven't suffered any change in pay?
No, I'm still paid the same.
And you haven't suffered any change in benefits?
No,
And you haven't suffered any change in seniority?
no.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any redirect, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Sorry?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. The witness is excused.
Would you like me to leave this up or take it down?
The easel?
Yes.
You can get it
It's fine.
Okay.
You can stand down.
out. Leave it
Oh, why don't you just put him in a pile of hands, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's smart.
Yes, Your Honor. Before we call our next witness, do you mind if we take a second to see if these lights would turn out by over the overhead?
Oh, go ahead. That's fine.
Calls Westminster to the stand.
Witness will come forward, please, and take a spot in the box. Sir, the testimony you're going to give in this court, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please be seated. Sir, if you could please state your name for the record.
Westminster.
Counsel, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your occupation, Mr. Minster?
I am a barber.
And how do you know the defendant, Mr. Ipsa?
I rent a room to him.
Could you speak up just a little bit?
I rent a room to him.
Do you own the house that you live in?
I do.
How long has Mr. Ipsa lived there with you?
About 5 years.
Are you currently a party to this lawsuit?
I am not.
have you previously been a party to this lawsuit?
Yes, I was.
Why were you dropped?
I was dropped whenever the plaintiff found out that I was not the dog's owner.
Has the plaintiff offered you anything in exchange for your testimony today, such as compensation?
She is not.
Let's talk about Chowser. Could you tell the court who Chowser is?
Chowser is the dog that is attacked Mrs. Reeder.
Has Mr. Ipsa always owned Chowser?
He is not. I own the dog the first 2 years.
How long did you, oh, you said 2 years.
2 years.
So how long has Mr. Ipsa owned Chowser?
After the 2 years, I sold the Chowser, and he's owned Chowser since.
After selling the dog to Mr. Ipsa, who is responsible for taking care of him?
Race and Becky.
And Becky is?
Race's fiance.
Okay. We're going to talk about the current attack in just a little bit, but first I'd like for you to tell us where you live.
I live at 1113 South Glenwood.
Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor.
That's fine.
I've just handed you what's been marked as Joint Exhibit Number 4. Could you take a look at that and then tell the court what that is?
This looks like the drawing that I made of the first floor of our house.
And does that diagram fairly and accurately represent the layout of the house, though it's not drawn to scale?
It does.
Your Honor, we move for this Joint Exhibit Number 4 to be admitted into evidence.
It's admitted.
I'm now handing you what's been marked as Joint Exhibit Number 5. Go ahead and look that over and again tell the court what that is.
This would be the drawing I did of the main floor of the house.
Of the main floor of the
I'm
house?
sorry, the second floor, the upstairs.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of the layout of the second floor, though it's not drawn to scale?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, we move for Joint Exhibit Number 5 to be admitted into evidence.
Just briefly clarifying, is this the second floor or the main floor? Which floor is this? It's labeled main floor.
It does say main floor.
That's
Is that-
my only question. Otherwise, we have no objection, so the court notes that
I'm
both of these are
sorry.
not to scale. Other than that, I have no
I
objection.
apologize.
It's the second
Just-
floor?
Yeah, that was just my
Okay.
my marking on there.
No,
for
that's fine.
myself
I was just
earlier.
So just to be clear,
I was
though,
just confused.
Joint Exhibit 5 is one story up from Joint Exhibit 4?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's fine.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, let's turn our
So yes,
attention...
it's admitted.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn our attention back to Chowser now. How big was Chowser?
Chowser is a very large dog. By 1 year, he was already up to 85 pounds.
Are Chows vicious dogs?
They are
Objection calls for speculation. He can't be asked to testify about the propensity of every chow dog ever.
Your objection is sustained. Let's stick to the dog we're talking about.
Okay. Now, before the current
I mean,
incident...
or if this man has specific personal knowledge, I'm happy to hear it.
Well, I mean, he can testify to what his opinion of what he's seen of Chow dogs.
Again, if
would
he wants
say.
to talk about what he has seen with his own eyes, I'm happy to hear it.
Was Chowser in particular a protective dog?
He was very protective.
And before the incident that gave rise to this suit, do you know of any prior incidents involving his aggression?
2 incidences.
And could you tell us of the first of those?
First incident was March 2004. I came home from work and I found a package on the front porch. There was a hole punched through my screen door, and inside I found Chowser agitated, anxious, with a little bit of blood on the side of his face. At the time, I wasn't aware what had happened until I quit receiving my mail, and I flagged my mailman down, and
Objection. He's about to testify as to what the mailman told him. It's hearsay.
Just to remind you, you can't say what anyone told you.
I received a letter from the post office that stated...
Again, I object to him testifying as to what the letter
you just
stated.
tell
The
us
letter's
what-
not in evidence.
Excuse me.
Withdrawn.
You
Could
could
you
speak
just-
one at a time.
Could you just tell, it's withdrawn, excuse me. Could you tell us just what you observed, not what you received or anything?
Chowser was anxious and agitated, and there was a package on my front door.
No, you said that there was a hole in the screen door, correct?
Yes.
Is the screen door the only door in the front of your house?
No, there's a main door, but I leave it open on nice days.
And could you tell us again where you found the package?
on the front porch.
Was the mailman injured at all?
No.
I'm handing you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 4. Could you look at that for a moment and tell the court what that is?
This is the letter I received from the post office regarding the incident.
Regarding the incident, you said? When did you receive this letter?
Several days after the incident occurred.
And would you say this is a fair and accurate representation of the letter that you received in the mail?
Yes.
Your Honor, we move for plaintiff's exhibit number 4 to be admitted into evidence.
Can you explain to me for what purpose this is being admitted?
Yes, without this letter, we have no idea exactly what happened because he was not there on that day. We can get the post office explanation for why they stopped delivering the mail.
We again renew our objection from pretrial. This letter is hearsay. No one can testify that these facts actually are what they say they are.
The letter's admitted.
Just one moment.
If you need help from the clerk getting it back on, it'll be fine.
I think I'm okay. Yeah, I don't know. Did you turn it off?
Would you like me to stay over here and do anything?
So it's showing the output now. So you have to switch it to the input. There we go.
Mr. Minster, would you mind reading the first paragraph of this letter?
Sure. Following an investigation by our office, we have determined that on March 22, 2004, at approximately 11 a.m., a Chinese Chow breed dog owned by you attacked one of our mail carriers as he was delivering a package to your home. According to our investigation, our carrier was placing the package on your front porch when the dog, who was inside at the time, leaped at the front door. The wooden door was open and only the screen door was closed. The dog knocked a corner out of the screen door and came very near to squirming out of the hole it made. Our carrier reports that he was in fear of serious injury based on the attitude and demeanor of the dog.
Could you now read the second paragraph?
Be advised that this office considers your dog to be of vicious temperament. Therefore, pursuant to the U.S. Postal Regulation 34897, no mail will henceforth be delivered to your premises until our carrier, at his sole discretion, deems it safe to resume delivery. In the interim, your mail may be picked up at our main office during the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Thank you. Did they actually stop delivering your mail?
They did.
Did they ever start delivering it again?
They did. I flagged down our postal man.
Objection, hearsay.
What he's getting ready to say.
Here's the thing.
I'm
Postman,
If he testifies to anything the postal worker said, I
I'm
don't-
not. I'm getting ready to state what I said to the postal worker. I said that I would leave the main door closed to the house, and he began to deliver the mail again.
Did you ever show this letter to Mr. Ipsa?
I did after the October 2005 incident.
Could you tell us about that incident?
It was Halloween. I was at a party, came home at 9 o'clock in the evening to find that the dog was agitated, and the dog had been let out and attacked a boy that was riding through the yard, egging the house. It attacked the boy, knocked him off his bike, and bit the boy.
Do you know, did you say that you were there when this happened?
I was not there.
Do you know if the boy threw anything at Chowser to provoke him?
I do not.
Do you know how the dog got out that night?
I do not.
What did you decide to do with Chowser after that incident?
I put an ad to try to get rid of him. I wanted to try to find him a place like on a farm away from more people. I did hang a sign on the tree that said beware of dog in the front.
But you didn't get rid of Chowser at that point.
Not at that point. Race and Becky had asked if they could buy Chowser from me.
And why was it that you were wanting to get rid of him?
because I thought he was a dangerous, and I did not want to be liable for his actions.
You said that you hung a sign. Could you tell us what the sign said again?
Beware of dog.
Did Race ever ask you to take that sign down?
He did not.
Did he ever say that he didn't think the sign was true because Chowser wasn't aggressive or dangerous?
He did not.
Let's turn to the present case now, Mr. Minster. Could you tell us what you know about the attack on Ms. Reeder?
I received a phone call in the morning from my neighbor Anita to come home. I came home to find Chowser on the pool side of the fence, a place he is not supposed to be. He was very agitated.
Just to clear something up, you said she called you in the morning, or was it?
Yes,
Okay, I think the incident happened in the
in
afternoon.
the afternoon. Okay.
So when was it that she called?
In the
you?
afternoon.
Okay. Do you know who let the dogs out that day?
I do not. The dogs were inside when I left.